morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Wednesday, November 18th, 2015. I am Dave Biddle, and I am happy to be joined by our Alex Gleitman. Alex, the college football playoff rankings were released last night. No surprises. The top 5 stays the same: Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Iowa. And then Oklahoma State jumps in there at number 6. I think pretty much everybody predicted that's how it was going to work out. No surprises from the committee last night. Your thoughts, Alex?
Yeah, as you said, no real surprises there. I'm not someone that says bullish on Notre Dame, and I'm not one of those Ohio State guys who has beef with Notre Dame. I personally don't really care one way or another whether in the college football playoff or not. I personally don't think they're that good. I think part of what has them at 4 right now, number one, people around them are losing. Their only loss is to Clemson. And I also think, and it's the same thing with Ohio, within Ohio State or in Alabama. I think TV ratings do drive the committee's rankings just a little bit. So, having Notre Dame in the mix is always a good thing when it comes to television and things of that nature. But, that said, the other kind of point I was thinking about last night is Ohio State is 3, Iowa is 5. One of those teams is not going to make the playoff at the end. Possibly both of those teams aren't going to make the playoff at the end of the day. And obviously all depends what happens with Ohio State in the Big Ten East and, Iowa. And if they can win the Big Ten title, they should be able to wrap that up in the next couple of weeks, the West Division at least. So, it should be interesting. But if Ohio State and Iowa do play, that's going to open up a spot for someone else, either ultimately what I'm saying is Iowa is not going to be able to jump Notre Dame if they don't win the Big Ten title. So Iowa or Ohio State are going to be out of there. Notre Dame will be interesting to see what they do down the stretch with Stanford. Oklahoma State has a couple of tough games coming up. So I think there's going to be a lot of shakeup in the college football playoff, even though there was kind of no surprises last night.
And, Alex, I think if Oklahoma State wins out and Notre Dame wins out, I think Oklahoma State would jump Notre Dame in that scenario. Now, Notre Dame would still get in if Ohio State and Iowa lose, but if Ohio State wins out, Alabama wins out, Clemson wins out, Oklahoma State wins out, and Notre Dame wins out, I think Notre Dame would be on the outside looking in that scenario, because even though right now Notre Dame is ahead of Oklahoma State, as you mentioned, they have big games ahead of them. And with Stanford losing, that's going to hurt Notre Dame. That was going to be a quality win for them if they were able to beat Stanford. So I think Oklahoma State, if they win out, they're going to jump Notre Dame, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I personally don't see Oklahoma State winning out. I think Stanford's going to beat Notre Dame, and as Joey Galloway said last night, Stanford's at 11 right now. I don't think that's really going to hurt Notre Dame as much as people think it's going to hurt Notre Dame, especially if their only loss, is Clemson at the end of when this whole thing comes to a thing. But we also have to. I think a lot's going to happen. There's still while there's only 2 regular season weeks and a Big Ten not a Big Ten championship, a championship week for those conferences that do have championships. I think there's a lot of football left to be played. Clemson can absolutely lose one that they shouldn't. And UNC is playing great football right now, and that's a game that maybe they can lose in the ACC championship. Hey, maybe South Carolina has a little bit of juice, in the Palmetto rivalry, and they can, give Clemson a run for their money. Heck, Syracuse did this weekend, and Alabama, I think they're playing good football right now. I think they're a little bit overvalued because they are Alabama. I think their defense is outstanding. I still think their offense is pedestrian outside of Derrick Henry. So, they could be susceptible to, and I wish Florida's offense was a little bit better so I could say that they could beat them in the SEC championship game. But my point is there's a lot of football left to be played, and a lot of things could happen, including with Ohio State, who has 2 very tough games before a potential Big Ten championship game.
No question about it. The Buckeyes just need to take care of business, worry about the college football playoff later. It'll all take care of itself, especially if you're Ohio State. You win out, you're in, you know that.
Winning, you're
last
in.
Year, last year it wasn't like that. Ohio State needed some help, or at least they thought they did. It turns out you beat Wisconsin 59-0. You really don't need help.
They help themselves.
Yeah, it's a good position for the Buckeyes to be in. Switching gears, big recruiting weekend, obviously, huge recruiting weekend for the Buckeyes. A lot of people coming in for the Michigan State game, a lot of official visits, and 2 guys I want to focus on, Alex, a couple of big D tackles, Antwuan Jackson and Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence is a 5-star, Antwuan Jackson is a 4-star. Break it down for me. Do the Buckeyes have a better chance with Antwuan Jackson than they do Dexter Lawrence? Tell the listeners what they need to know about those 2 guys making their official visits this weekend.
Yeah, for me with Dexter Lawrence, I believe it's his first time on campus. I don't like these situations. These guys, not from the region, from the South especially, you'd like to get them on campus for an unofficial visit at some point in the spring and the summer before they, visit now. It's happened in the past where they've landed guys like a Johnny Dixon who's just come for his official, or James Clark. But I think Dexter Lawrence, to me, before, you say get them on campus and you have a shot. So I'm not going to say, I'm telling you there's a chance, in the words of Dumb and Dumber. But at the same time, I honestly don't think that there's much of a chance with Dexter Lawrence. I think he's probably going to be headed to Clemson. That's where it looks like he's going to be headed at this point. But as Urban Meyer is one of the best in the business, and getting you don't turn down a guy like that wanting to visit your campus. So I think Ohio State, they're quote unquote in the game, but I'm not sure how much of a chance they have with Dexter Lawrence. On the flip side, though, Antwuan Jackson, it's his second visit of the football season. I think it's his fourth overall after visiting. I think it was earlier in the summer, and then Friday Night Lights. Then he came back for the Penn State game. Now he's back for his official visit against Michigan State after his team's playoff game on Friday night. That is going to be a gigantic visit. I'm someone right now, I have Ohio State as the crystal ball pick for Antwuan Jackson. The way I see it, it's Ohio State versus Auburn. Whatever other teams you mentioned, I don't really think they're in the fold. They live pretty close to Auburn. He's visited there a bunch of times. And, my whole thing is I think Antwuan Jackson wants to go to Ohio State. I think his father, who he's very close with, has given him the blessing to go to Ohio State. But I think, somewhere inside of Antwuan, he's being torn that, being close to home and going to Auburn, where he is absolutely comfortable. He likes the coaching staff. He likes the players. He knows a lot of the guys that go there from Georgia. But at the same time, I think he's torn between that and staying close to home, and then, going to Ohio State, where I feel he thinks his best relationship is with Larry Johnson, and I think he loves Ohio State, and I think this weekend is going to be absolutely huge in the recruitment of Antwuan Jackson, and I think it will really tell you where does Ohio State stand. Are they number one? Or are they number two? Because this kid's going to make a decision fairly soon as he's planning to enroll early.
Ohio State's basketball team had their second game of the season last night, Alex. They beat Grambling State 82-55. 22 points from Cam Williams. That was really good to see because I thought he was going to be a big part of the team this year. I don't believe he scored at all in the opener. I think he was 0 for 2, didn't play as much as I thought he would. So good to see Cam Williams have a big game. Mark Leving had 14 points. Kata Bates-Diop had 14 points. I continue to be impressed with Daniel Giddens. He needs to shoot free throws better. He's 0 for 5 from the line. But other than that, I love Daniel Giddens. I think it's a matter of time before he is the starting center. Although Trevor Thompson played well last night as well. Jayshawn Tate, I think, is going to be second team All Big Ten at the very least. So Jaquan Lyles looking good, although he didn't do much last night. So just two games, very small sample size, Alex. But your thoughts on this basketball team so far?
Yeah, I said it last night and on Twitter, and I'll say it again here. I'm not sure where this team's going to finish in the Big Ten standings or whatnot, but they are going to be one fun team to watch. I absolutely love this team early on. They're very young. I don't expect them to do any damage come NCAA tournament time. I hope I think the hope for this team is just to make the tournament. Maybe you win a game or two, and you could sneak into the Sweet 16 if you're playing good basketball. But I kind of think that's their ceiling, given how young they are and inexperienced. That said, it's a very exciting time. You talked about the bigs. I think everyone was kind of frustrated with Amir Williams and Trey McDonald. I think he was always a kind of a career backup type guy, so you can't really put much fault on him. But it's been very frustrating, the interior play of Ohio State the last few years. Talk about the big man group, Daniel Giddens, Trevor Thompson, Dave Bell. These kids are exciting to watch. The effort is just what you see out of those kids that you didn't see out of an Amir Williams, and they play hard, for 40 minutes of basketball. I think the wings have taken a huge step up this year. Jayshawn Tate he's shown early in his first two games his ability now to take a jump shot and hit 3-pointers. He's hit I think at least 3 of them through the first 2 games. So that's an exciting element of his game that he's adding. Mark Loving looks like the old Mark Loving, the guy we all expected after he went through kind of a tough time last year. And Kata Bates-Diop has taken a huge step forward. Much more aggressive this year, going to the hoop, can shoot the 3. That kid is going to be a really nice player for Ohio State, at least probably a 3-year guy, if not a 4-year guy. And then the guard play. Jaquan Lyles, he didn't do much last night, but also, kind of the score got out of hand, so he didn't really play as much as he normally would have. I think he looks really good and really comfortable handling that point guard position. He's a guy who could score, he could rebound. He plays good defense. He could deliver the basketball where it needs to go. A.J. Harris, he's kind of a lightning out of a bottle off the bench, very, very fast, energetic player. I think he'll provide good minutes off the bench. And then you talked about a Cam Williams, who I think is a guy who's going to be, some games he's going to come out and score 22 points, some games he's going to come out and score 0 points. I think he's a guy who you get in, you see how he's playing the flow of the game, and you kind of ride his hot hand when he's on, and you kind of know when to keep on the bench when he's off. But he's a nice bench piece to this Ohio State team. And then kind of the last guy, Austin Grandstaff, I think he needs to improve his defense, get stronger, but he did show last night the ability to kind of hit the three from anywhere in the gym, and that could be a valuable asset down the stretch. So this is a young Ohio State team. I think they're going to be up and down, win games they shouldn't, lose games they shouldn't when it comes to Big Ten season. And they got Memphis, I think, next Friday. So we'll see how they do, kind of in their first big challenge of the season. But, again, very exciting team to watch. I think it's going to be a fun season given, especially the low expectations.
Great insights out of Alex Gleitman. A couple programming notes real quick. We will interview Urban Meyer tonight after practice around 6:30, so look for a video and a story on what Coach Meyer has to say. We will also interview some players tonight after practice, so look for stories, bolts, and videos on what the players have to say. I will be co-hosting on 97.1 The Fan in Columbus today from noon to 3. Check that out if you get a chance. Carpenter and Rothman, I'll be filling in on that show from noon to 3 today on 97.1 The Fan. Thanks again to Alex Gleitman, and thanks to you, the listener, for tuning into the show. I appreciate it and hope you have a great day. Take it away, best damn band in the land.